members, are they all around?
Good afternoon. Welcome to the March 21st meeting of the Human Services Committee. We're still allowed to be on Zoom, and I see at least one member on Zoom. Thank you, Supervisor Bruno.
Welcome.
I will call the meeting to order at 11:20, and I'll ask that we have an approval of the minutes of the prior committee meeting.
I'll make.
Anyone? Supervisor Frazier, do I have a second to that?
Second.
Supervisor Bruno, thank you. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. As we normally do, we will hear from the Countryside Adult Home first. Then we'll move on to Warren County Department of Social Services. We don't have any report this month from Veteran Services, although I will share some information about Veteran Services at the completion of the prior to the completion of the meeting. So I know that we have representatives from Countryside here. The request is to fill a full-time cook. This position is vital in meeting the dietary needs of the Countryside Adult Home as well as the meal site program. The position is 50% reimbursable. Good morning.
Good morning. You said it all. That's exactly what it is.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I'll bring it to the floor, though.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Frazier. Do I have a second to that? Supervisor McDevitt, thank you. Questions or comments? Supervisor Bruno.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just so I completely understand, so this will fulfill the needs of the meal site program 100%. In other words, we don't need to rely on any outside entity. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. So what my cooks do is they prepare the meals to go out.
Right.
So it's a lot more, for just the two cooks that we have doing it right now. So it's to meet both our needs, but there definitely is still a need for meal site.
Right. But this person or your cook staff will fulfill the needs of the meal sites. In other
For
words,
Countryside. Yes, for the sites that we do.
yes. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I will call the question. All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? So moved. Any other issues or items that you'd like to add, Amy?
No.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
We will move on to the Department of Social Services, and I see both Chris Hanchett and Julie available. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Supervisor Driscoll and the board for entertaining the emergency fill we had for a part-time cook up at Countryside, or a food service helper, excuse me, up at Countryside on Friday. So thank you for that. Today, the first thing that I'd like to do is introduce our youth program director, who is going to be handling the Warren County Youth Bureau from here on out. He's already done quite a bit of work. This is something I talked about several the year in 2001. So without further ado, I'll introduce Mike Gray, and he'll say a few things about what he's done and what he's going to do. Thanks.
Morning, everyone. First, I want to say it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank Chris and his team for making the transition as smooth as it has gone. It's been a great experience. So I look forward to meeting with all of you and talking about how the Youth Bureau can help you achieve any positive youth development goals you may have in your communities, and want to support your programs as much as we can. But I want to, we assumed the role as, well, I did it, as the role as Youth Bureau Director on February 1st. And we got up running, we had a good start. We held a Red Cross lifeguard training on the February break. The kids were out. We had 6 youth from Warren County sign up to be trained to be Red Cross certified. There was no cost to the participants. We try to do as much as we can at no cost. So we had 5 actually complete the training. We're going to hold another Red Cross lifeguard certification class at the Hudson Falls Middle School pool on the April break, which will run April 18th through the 22nd. All anyone has to do, if anyone in your community is interested, contact the Youth Bureau, and we will register them and get them set up to go. If you have lifeguards that need to be recertified this year, all they have to do is contact our office. We'll be doing the recertifications on first aid, CPR, and water safety on the first day, the 18th. So again, anybody just contact our office and we'll take care of that. Also on a note, we have trained first aid CPR staff. So if your rec programs or you have the need of getting trained staff, we can do that at no charge. We do follow the Red Cross curriculum, and we'd be happy to do that. All you need to do is reach out to us and we'll come to your program and do it. So there's that opportunity. We also collaborated with the Sheriff's Department to fill the slots for the Sheriff's Camp. They had already identified 4 out of 5 slots. We were able to pick up one young lady for that 5th slot. Our goal is to get more slots for Warren County. We're hoping that as the Sheriff's Association identifies those counties that aren't bringing their youth, we can get those slots and then fill them with Warren County youth. We also reach out to the schools to offer a Vape Educate. It's an online course that schools, vaping is a big issue in schools. It continues to be. So it's an online course. It takes about 5 hours for the youth to complete. Excuse me. We grant the license to the school. We monitor whether the youth is doing it in the hopes that the school, rather than suspending a student out of school for 3 to 5 days for being caught with a vape, they'll reduce that suspension and complete. And there's no cost for that as well. We also met with probation. We'll be collaborating on a Global Youth Service Day, which will be April 23rd. We're still negotiating on the sites, picking the best site for the biggest bang, and that'll be on April 23rd. We'll be tabling at the Warren County Interagency Provider Fair on May 19th. We'll be there to offer resources to the community. And before the summer recreation program start, we'll be going out to meet with your staff and talk about how we can support the program. We have an inventory of different games that we can bring and support staff to help operate them. And if any of you run a beach program and you need a water safety instructor, we have a person on staff that can do that water safety assessment. And again, we continue to do provide the Live at 25, which has been a great partnership, and the distracted driving program. So there's other programs down the road that I hope, as I work with other departments, I really look forward to the future. So are there any questions? I know I went through that pretty quick.
No, thank you, Mr. Gray. I had a chance to have a nice conversation with Mike this past week, and I encourage every municipality to reach out to him in coming weeks and time in order to introduce yourself and talk about the needs and interests of your own communities. So thank you for coming this morning.
Thanks, Mike. The next action item I have is notice of intent to fill for the position of caseworker 24 in our foster care and adoption unit. This is a grade 16. This is due to retirement based, actually effective April 1st, 2022. Position is mandated and reimbursed.
Thank you, Chris. Motion to bring it to the floor, Supervisor Frazier, Supervisor McDevitt on the second. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. Request number 3.
Okay, request number
Right.
3 is to amend the budget to increase revenue and expenses in the amount of $126,379. This is to reflect 2022 allocation received by the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, and this is for rental assistant programs to qualified individuals that we administer through DSS.
Motion to bring that to the floor, please.
I'll move.
Supervisor Bruno. A second. Oh, Supervisor McDevitt, thank you. Questions or comments for the commissioner? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, so moved. Item number 4, please, Chris.
The last item is just to remind everyone that April is Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. And you can see attachment number 3 for any more information on that if you'd like to take a look at that. Usually there's a proclamation through the Board of Supervisors, and we do a couple events over at DSS. So that's the last item I have. I believe Julie has a fiscal report here to offer us. So if there's not any questions, I'll let her speak.
Good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Okay, I gave you an overview of our revenue and expenditures for 2021. We're pretty much wrapping up all of our expenses for 2021, so you're getting a pretty good picture of where we're at, which looks great. We're under budget and over on revenue. Doesn't get much better than that. We really took advantage of a lot of smaller allocations that were offered in 2021, and we're hoping they continue in 2022. The other report, I did the revenue and expenditure for the first quarter. Actually, not the first quarter, through February, just so you can see where we're at so far, and we're right on target. Especially if you compare it with February 2021. Revenue always comes in kind of slow the first couple of months of the year, but we're already doing better than last year, so I don't have any concerns there as well. And then with overtime, it's still high. We're still looking for staff as always, so hopefully we can get all of our positions filled and then trained, and then you'll see a decrease.
Great, thank you. Any comments? No, any comments or questions for Julie on the finance report? Supervisor Frazier?
I would just like to say to Julie, I like this new format. It's much easier to read and find out where we're at. So thank you. I appreciate that.
I will second that if that's all right. Anything else? If I could just bring the commissioner back up. Chris, could you talk a little bit about the status of the ERAP Emergency Rental Assistance Program and what's happening statewide with that, please?
Sure. We did get some money reallocated for New York State. There was 4 states that got money reallocated. These were funds that were taken from other states who did not use all their allocation based on a number of reasons. Some states didn't need them. Some states just couldn't put together a program to spend it all. So there was quite a bit of money left over. I will be sending out an update on ERAP pretty soon, but we are hoping that we will be able to have some more money flow into our county for our residents as well. I do not have the final word on that yet. We've had some emails going around with New York Public Welfare Association and other commissioners. We're still waiting to hear on how that money is going to be distributed. I will let people know as soon as I find out about Warren County, unless someone in this room has found out before me, because that sometimes happens. Also, I should mention that the rental assistance that I had spoke about in my presentation earlier is not related to ERAP. That's a separate program through DSS.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you for sending that monthly update, generally about a week before our board meeting. I think that's very helpful to from an educational and informational standpoint. So thank
Well,
you.
you're welcome. I try not to have it too lengthy and detailed, but if people have questions, they can always call me.
Perfect length. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have no request or need for veteran services, but I did want to reiterate what Supervisor Frazier had mentioned at last Friday's board meeting, that a committee is reviewing the status of the RFPs for the peer-to-peer program. We're about 2 meetings into, I think it's a 5-meeting process, and this Thursday, I believe, we'll be meeting again via Zoom and reviewing those and scoring them, rating them, and that's a process that we hope to complete, I think, by sometime during the month of April. Unless there's any other questions or comments that people would like to make, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I have Mr. Chairman, one quick
sorry.
question.
Yep,
No, that's
go ahead.
okay. I probably should have asked earlier, but if I had occasion to want to contact Mr. Gray, the youth program director, how would I do that, or do I just get in touch with Commissioner Hanchett?
I've reached out to commissioners, whether I sit on their particular committee or not, over the years. Just give them a phone call. I'll leave that up to Chris to decide how to do that.
Yeah, you can absolutely give me a call and I will direct you to Mr. Gray, as he is actually taking over the day-to-day stuff. He will actually be coming to committee with anything that needs to go before this committee. I still have oversight over the youth program, but I'm not going to be the acting director anymore. Mike will be doing that. He's a qualified individual. He also sits, I should mention, this is an advantage. He sits at the state level on a couple of committees regarding to programs. So it's really a great benefit to bring him in to the fold here. And certainly any questions about Youth Bureau or youth activities would be better answered by Mr. Gray going forward. But I will certainly help you out if you give me a call.
Great. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Thanks. Very good. I appreciate that.
Can I just,
Yeah.
Chris, maybe if I could just ask a question, please, just to get back to the rental supplemental program
Sure.
allocation, and kind of looking at the chart here in terms of the distribution of different counties. Okay. Do you feel that the allocation that we get in Warren County is sufficient currently to address our local needs?
Are you talking about ERAP or the rental assistance program that I spoke about earlier?
I guess the rental, yeah. Probably the first one you spoke to.
You know, it's tough to say because I don't really know the minutia of other counties and what their needs are. I can't really compare it in any meaningful way, comparing to other counties, because I simply just don't have their information. I think that any amount of money that we get is helpful for residents of Warren County. And we'll see. I mean, with ERAP, we had a really slow startup on that. I mean, it caught up and we started getting more and more people. But as we move forward, we'll see if this is enough to cover the needs. But I can't really compare it to what other counties' needs might be.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Again, thank you all for coming this morning. Do I have a motion to adjourn the Human Services Committee meeting? Supervisor Frazier and Supervisor, where am I looking? Oh, Hogan. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And that concludes the, a motion, all in favor,
Aye.
adjournment.